Right, let's just get this lined up. Okay.
My brain's had to work out this morning.
I know. Okay.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Right, fractions, decimals, percentages. This is blowing your minds. So we're going to try and unpick it for you a little bit. The first thing we've got here is I've got 3 number lines. The top one is between 0 and 1. This is going to be my fractions. This one's my decimals, 0 and 1. And then this one's my percentages, so that's between 0 and 100.
Because percent means out of 100.
It sure does. So if I have, what is half of a whole?
Half.
Half. How do I write that down?
As a fraction?
Yes, please.
1/2.
1/2.
Splitting it into 2.
Okay. And so what would my decimal be?
0.5.
0.5. I love it. What is half of 100?
50%.
Beautiful. You need to be able to see the relationship between these. So let's do this one now. So half of a half is a
Quarter.
quarter. Half of 0.5 is
0.25.
yeah. So 5 halved is 2.5. So 0.25. And then what's half of 50?
25.
25%. Okay, so if I've got 1/4, a half,
That's 3/4.
well done, Mrs.
Because
Cole.
it's cut into 4
Ah,
parts.
and we're talking about 1, 2, 3 of them. It all makes sense.
It does.
Okay, and then if I've got 0.25, 0.5, 0. I sometimes struggle with this one, so I might just do a different one.
Oh, okay.
Because I know that 25.
Add 50
Add
is
another-
75.
Right, okay, so that's 75%, which means that this must be 0.75.
And also sometimes it's easier to use 0 as a placeholder.
Yeah, you're right. And you don't get marked down or anything
No.
like that for that?
So then you could do 25, add 50 is 0.75.
And that is why she's a genius.
Okay, the ones you should know without having to work them out
Or do any of this.
or do any of that is a quarter, a fifth, a half, 3/4, and a tenth. Okay, so it's a bit jumbled up, but a quarter in decimals is 0.25 because Mrs. Gills has already told us that, and a percentage is 25%. You should just know that. Okay, 1/5 is
I haven't got that up here.
0.2, but I'm going to put 0 as a placeholder because it'll help me there. That 1/5 of 100 is 20.
So if you were going to have a quarter of a cake or a fifth of a cake, which one would you choose?
Quarter.
Because there's more.
This is not.
Wicked.
Unless you're, on a diet.
Yeah. Of which I am not.
1/10
That's not on here either.
is 0.1.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going to put 0 as placeholder, and that's my 10%.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
You just need to know these, don't you?
Yeah. So same with half. Half is obviously 0.5, but I'm going to use it as a placeholder. You've got 50%, and then 3/4 is 0.75, which is 75%.
Yeah.
You should also know what an eighth is. Do you know what an eighth is?
Oh, tricky. Tell me how you're going to work this one out.
Oh, don't know.
You actually don't know, do
I
you?
don't.
That's because we just have to know it.
No, we do have to know it, but I don't want to confuse them
Yeah.
because we're going to go into that in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1/8 is 12.5.
Yep.
Zero.
That's, yeah.
And that's
0.125 and then 12.5%.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you do just need to know these. The reason why it's important that you do just need to know these is, for example, if you know that a fifth is 20%, you can then work out what 3/5 is, which is what?
60%.
Because you know that. So if knowing these ones, just like that, is going to help you going forward.
Yeah. Right, now, this is why I didn't want to go into what 1/8 is and how to convert it, because that's what we're doing now.
And yeah, this, just a disclaimer, you're going to freak out on this bit, but we're going to show you what you need to do, and then we're going to really go into it on the next few pages, okay? So don't freak, just stay with us. Okay?
It's a beautiful triangle, Mrs. Skills.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start with when you are, if you've got a decimal and you need to turn it into a percentage, all you need to do, I'm going to draw a line here to show you. All you need to do to
So
turn,
that's decimals going down to percentages.
you need to times it by 100.
Because percentage
It's
is
out
out
of
of
100. Oh my gosh. Okay, but if you're going back again, I know this is going to blow your mind, but stay with me. So if you're going from a percentage, I'll do it in a different colour just to help you. A bit of purple, yeah. Don't panic. But to go from a percentage to a decimal, you just divide by 100. I know.
Inverse.
Inverse. Simple as that.
Boom.
Want to do the decimals and fractions?
Oh, if I have to. Okay, so if you've got a fraction, like 1/8, and you need to make it into a decimal, you need to, so we're going to be going this way. Oh, I've done it wrong now. Never mind. You need to divide
I'm okay with it.
the denominator
Yeah.
by the numerator.
Don't freak, we're going to show you what
Okay,
that
so
means.
that would be, if you had 1/8, that would be 8 divided by 1.
It would.
And it would give you a decimal starting with a 0.
You're right.
I am.
Okay, so what if you wanted to go from decimal to fraction?
So if you've got a decimal and you need to change it into a fraction, you've got to put it over 100.
We'll explain what that means in a
And
minute.
then simplify.
Simplify. But we know how to do that because we've already done a video on it.
Exactly.
Hope you're not freaking out. You don't need to freak out. We're going to go through it in a minute.
Okay.
Then this last one, if you are going to go from a... I'm going to go like this and we're going to go round in a circle.
Oh yeah, good one, Gina.
I know, full of them. If I'm going to go from a percentage to a fraction, again, I just need to go over 100, okay? So you wrote over 100.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
what?
then simplify.
And then simplify. So essentially, if you are turning anything into a fraction, you chuck it over 100. Tick, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're shaking your head. I was going.
No, yeah. You don't have to, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but you don't have to simplify. You can still get the right answer
You
by
can.
doing over 100, but it's good practice to simplify.
Yes. Oh, that's a beautiful noise. Now this is probably the most tricky, but don't freak. We've been at this for a few hours. Can you
see
tell?
I'm panicking.
Stop
Can you?
freaking.
Olivia, don't panic.
Don't panic. Faith, you gotta have faith. Don't freak. We're going to go through this, but to turn a fraction into a percentage, you first need to turn it into a decimal, then the percentage.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. We already know how to do that. So divide the denominator by the numerator,
And then times it.
you times by 100.
Woohoo!
I know, we make everything so easy, but we are going to go through it now with you, so
And
don't
we
freak.
are going to take a photo of that as well.
Yeah.
Mums and dads.
Yes. Blow your mind? Yeah. Okay, so decimal, into a fraction.
0.65.
Now, can we use this to refer back to?
Yeah, I suppose.
We're going to need to maybe...
Shall I peel it off?
Peel it.
And be your glamorous assistant?
I love it when she does this. Okay, so to go from... Stand in front just a sec, because I
Okay.
don't want it to be... So to go from a decimal to a fraction, I need to do it over 100. Okay, so 0.65, I'm going to do 65
Yep.
over 100.
Yep.
Can I simplify that? I can simplify that because I know that fives go into these.
Yep.
So how many fives go into
13.
13? How many fives go into
20.
Well done, Mrs. Cole. I can't simplify this any
No.
further because this is a prime number. Okay,
Beautiful singing.
thank you so much. I'm kind of losing it now. Decimals. So decimals into percentage. Bring back my chart, my glamorous assistant. So decimal, decimal into percentage. I'm going this way. Oh, I just need to times it by 100. No, 0.65 times 100. If I see anybody doing some sort of column method for this,
No.
Don't do it.
No.
What method am I going to use?
I'm just going to use placeholders. Is that alright?
Placeholders.
Yeah, just move it up.
Yeah, okay. And if you're stuck, you might then use a place value grid. So I'm times it, so my number's got to get bigger.
Yeah.
So
And it's timesing it by 100, so that's 2 places.
So this
I'm
is
going to
gonna
move
go
that 2
1,
places.
2.
And it should be 65%.
So 65 cent.
Boom.
Easy peasy. See what were you freaking out about? It don't matter. Fine.
No.
All right, next one. Do you want me to be your glamorous assistant?
You can if you like. So if we're doing a percentage, we've got 35. So here's the percentage. And we've got 35% and we want to make it to a decimal. We need to divide it by 100. So 35 divided by 100. I'm not going to use bus stop methods because that's going to waste so much time.
It is.
I'm going to use my placeholder knowledge, my
Yeah.
place value knowledge. Might use a place value grid if I really need to.
Yeah.
So that would look like that. Sorry.
Just easily distracted.
That's your decimal point. And I'm going to move it back 2 places.
Because
So this
she's
is
making her
35.
number smaller.
I'm moving that 2 places. That'll be 1, 2. And then this one, 1, 2. So it should be 0.35.
Amazing. So 35% as a decimal is 0.35. All right, but what about as a fraction? Percentage as a fraction.
Now, what am I doing percentage as a fraction? So, obviously, I've got to do it over 100.
Why?
Because percent means
Over 100. Got it.
per 100, actually.
Per
100.
percent.
So, I'm going to do 100. I'm going to do 35.
Oh my gosh, mind blown.
You could, I suppose, convert it again. Because
Yeah.
I know that
What,
35,
simplify it?
sorry, not convert it. Simplify it.
Just simplify it.
35
Yeah.
and 100, 5 goes into both. So 100 divided by 5 is 20,
Yeah.
and 35 divided by 5 is 7.
Can you do it any further?
No,
Why?
because 7s don't go into 20.
Yeah, and 7. With a round number.
It is.
Okay, last
I
one.
didn't sing that.
Oh no, I could have done, couldn't I? Oh, it's such a disappointment. Okay.
We've chosen an easy fraction for this one because we don't want you freaking out.
Don't freak out. It's just not worth it. Are we freaking out?
No.
We might be losing the plot, but we're not freaking
I've got
out.
a twitch.
Right, fifth. So I've got the fraction, and I need to turn it into a decimal. My glamorous assistant. Fraction to a decimal. I need to divide my denominator by my numerator. Okay.
Now this is where some of them get in a bit of a pickle.
Okay.
Because you need to remember that normally, unless it's an improper fraction, your denominator is higher
That's
than your
right.
numerator.
Yeah, that's right. But that's why we're using our terminology, isn't it?
Yeah.
Denominator and numerator. So my numerator is 1. I've got to divide that by my denominator. So this is going to be 1.
Yep.
And I'm dividing it by 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is the denominator.
Which is my denominator. How many groups of 5 can I get out of 1?
0.
Oh, man. Okay. I'll put that up there. So that means we're going into our decimals
Yeah.
now, aren't we? All right, so if I've got a 0 here
As placeholder.
as a placeholder,
Yeah.
I couldn't get it, a group of 5 into 1, so I'm going to bring that over here. So now I have 10 tenths. Did you get that?
Yeah. 10.
Tenths. How many groups of 5 can I get out of 10? 2. Any left over? Ah. I mean, it wasn't that hard. It's not that hard. You just need to practice your bus stop, which you all know how to do because we've done it until we're blue in the face. Okay,
They're all pretty good at bus stop.
they're not bad. They're not bad.
But you give them a decimal point.
Mind blown.
Can't cope with that.
No. Right, okay, so I said that this was the hardest one to do, so fraction into a percentage, my glamorous assistant.
Sorry, I'm half asleep.
Lazy on the job. So fraction to a percentage. I need to divide my denominator by my numerator, so I need to turn it into a decimal first, but it's fine because I've just done that. And then I need to turn it into a percentage. The way I do that is times by 100. So I know here that my decimal, I've turned it into a decimal already, so 0.2, I need to do 0.2 times 100, because percent is out of 100. If they don't know that by the end of this,
We'll cry.
I quit.
Do you?
Yeah, I'll quit.
Fine.
Okay, so I'm going to use my knowledge here. So, let's go 1, 2, so there'd be a placeholder here. I might just do that down here just so that we can really see it. So my placeholder, 1, 2, so it's going to go here. So now, it's okay. It's going to take practice. That's how you do it. We're going to put all of this stuff up on the website as well so that you can see it. But please don't freak out about it because we're going to sort it out when we get back.
You just need to make those connections, and once you've made those connections, it's as easy as anything.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something about this. It's gone completely. Oh, when you are having to order fractions, decimals, and percentages, you need to choose one to convert it into. And normally, I would say
Percentage for me. But
really, I would say decimals for me.
no, it's funny, isn't it? But you would do whichever one of these you find the easiest, essentially.
Yeah. So if you've got a quarter, this is
0.35
0.35
and 10%.
10%
You find it easier to go into,
decimals.
okay?
So I know that that's 0.25. I know that that's 0.35 already.
Yeah.
And I know that that is 0.1 or 0.10.
So now you
So
can order
then I
it.
would order it into smallest to largest. But you do it a different way.
I do it a different way.
Percentage.
Yeah, I turn it into a percentage. I'm like, which way do I do it? I can't remember. Where's my? I want my Sharpie.
Oh, okay.
So I know, because I already know this one and this one. I know that this is 25%. I know that this one is 35%. I know that this one is 10%. It's just the same. What I find easy, like Will's probably going to find the hardest way, the easiest way, because that's Will.
And Paige.
Well, there's quite a few of them actually. Yeah. Whichever way, there is no wrong way to do it. Doesn't matter which one, as long as you convert them properly. But that's FDP in a nutshell.
Woohoo!
Fun times.
I love it.
It's fun. I don't think we've got anything else to talk about either, have we?
No, we've covered everything that people have been asking us about. What I would say is don't get stressed about algebra.
No.
You don't need it as much. And maybe we'll do a few algebra ones next week, possibly.
Yeah, and if there's anything that you're struggling on, doesn't have to be maths, but if there's anything that you're struggling on, you need to email us to oak.class at...
dot 2020.
That's it.
At hotmail.com.
Got it. I made it, and now I can't remember it. Yeah, and we want to see more from you guys. We've got some children that are sending us stuff all the time, and it's really lovely. We want to see more from everybody because we are missing you an awful lot.
Yeah, and check me out, Reading Wolfwilder. I want some research on Russia and those wolf reports that I've asked for.
Yeah.
We really miss you.
We do really miss you. So please send us, even if you've made a den, even if you've painted your dad's toenails, we want to see because we're missing you a lot.
Yeah, and to be fair, we did do the rap.
We did do a rap.
So, you owe us.
Yeah, big time.
Because I had to wear a hat. And Porty Dana had to film me.
And guess whose bright idea that was?
Not mine.
Okay, right, we're going.
See you later.
Love you lots.
Bye.
Bye.